I called Andrew because I wanted to confirm Sunday dinner. That was all. A simple check-in. I didn't expect anything unusual. I didn't expect anything heavy. I just wanted to know what time I should come by. The phone rang twice before he picked up. "Hey, Mom," he said. His voice was flat, like he was distracted. "Yeah, Sunday works." I started to answer, but something shifted. There was a faint scrape, like he had set the phone down on a table. The call stayed open. He didn't hang up. I waited for him to come back. I stood in the middle of my apartment, phone to my ear, listening for his footsteps. Instead, I heard another voice, clear, close, confident. "Was that your mom again?" Brittany asked. I didn't move. My hand tightened slightly on the phone, but I kept still. I stayed quiet and listened. "Yeah," Andrew said. "Sunday dinner." "When are we telling her we don't want her there?" Brittany asked. The words hit fast, direct. She wasn't whispering. She wasn't hiding anything. She said it like it was a normal topic, something they had talked about more than once. "It's complicated," Andrew said. "It's not," she replied. "She's exhausting." I stared at the wall across from me. I didn't blink. I didn't speak. I held the phone steady. The call was still live, and they had no idea. "She's exhausting," Brittany repeated. "And that lake house? We could use it." The lake house, my place on Mercer Island, the place I had saved for, worked for, maintained for years. She talked about it like it was a spare chair. Andrew didn't say anything. The pause told me everything I needed to know. Silence from someone who knows what's being said is wrong is worse than agreement. "We could use it," Brittany said again. "She barely goes there. We should have it." I stayed calm. No raised heartbeat, no sudden motions, just clarity forming piece by piece. "Maybe we should limit visits," Andrew said. He didn't mutter it. He didn't hesitate. He said it like he had thought it before. Not once, many times. "Limit visits, limit me." Brittany sounded pleased. "Exactly. We have our own lives. We don't need her showing up all the time." I closed my eyes for a second. Not to fight tears. There weren't any. I closed them because the truth was now set in place. It wasn't temporary tension. It wasn't stress talking. It was a plan taking shape in real time. "She loves to show up whenever she wants," Brittany continued. "We're adults. We have kids. We need space." "Yeah," Andrew said quietly. "What about the lake house?" Brittany asked. "I don't know," he replied. She pushed harder. "She doesn't use it. You know that. We could turn it into something useful." Useful. The word stuck with me. Useful to her. Not meaningful, not sentimental, not earned. Just useful. "Brittany," Andrew said. "What?" she shot back. "You know I'm right." I listened to both of them breathe on the other end of the call. I stood in my silent kitchen, watching the dim light from the hallway stretch across the floor. Nothing in my apartment had changed, but everything in my life had. "She'll be fine," Brittany said. "She's independent. She can downsize. Or she can stay where she is. But the lake house should be ours." Our, not hers, as in her marriage with Andrew. Hers as in possession. Hers as in acquisition. "We'll talk to her," Brittany said. "Soon." "You mean I will?" Andrew said. "Yes," she replied. "She listens to you. She trusts you. Use that. Get her to see that it's better for us if she hands over the lake house." Hand over, like I was a signature away from disappearing on command. Andrew sighed. "I'll figure it out." "Don't delay," Brittany said. "She always gets uncomfortable when we mention it. Just be direct. She's a grown woman. She can take it." I stood there holding the phone, hearing every piece fall into place. They weren't worried about hurting me. They weren't worried about disrespect. They weren't even worried about fairness. They were focused on access. Access to my property. Access to my absence. Brittany's voice cut through the line one last time. "She barely uses that lake house. We should have it." That was the final confirmation. I didn't need more. I didn't need explanations. I didn't need to replay the conversation later. It was already complete. The truth was plain, sharp, simple. They didn't want me included. They wanted me removed. I lowered the phone slowly. I heard chairs moving on their end, maybe a cabinet closing. Normal sounds of a normal house, a house where they were casually planning the removal of the woman who raised him. The call was still open. I let it stay that way for a few seconds, then I ended it. Clean, quiet, final. I set the phone on the table. My apartment felt steady, controlled. Nothing shook, nothing broke inside me. Quiet was the only thing I needed. I walked to the sink and turned on the water. I washed my hands, dried them, and set the towel neatly back in place. Routine movements, clear movements, no panic, no confusion. My son had revealed himself without meaning to. His wife had spoken freely because she thought I wasn't listening. Together, they had shown me exactly where I stood. I walked back to the table and sat down. The phone screen lit up again. Andrew was calling. I didn't answer. I watched it ring until it stopped. I leaned back slightly. The room was quiet, except for the faint hum of the refrigerator. I kept my breathing steady. I didn't ask why. I didn't search for excuses to make their words lighter. I didn't soften their intent. I accepted the truth exactly as it had been said. They didn't want me around. They wanted the lake house. They wanted control. I placed my hand flat on the table, grounding myself. Tonight wasn't about reacting. It wasn't about confronting. It wasn't about emotion. Tonight was about information that would shape everything that came next. My son forgot to hang up, and now I knew everything. I turned off the kitchen light and let the room settle into a quiet dim. I didn't need brightness. I needed clarity. The evening outside my window in Seattle was calm, but the calmness didn't reach me. My phone lay on the table with the screen facing up. Andrew had already called twice since the moment I ended the call. I didn't touch it. I pulled out a chair and sat down. I kept my back straight and my hands folded. I didn't want a drink. I didn't want music. I didn't want anything that might dull the sharpness of what I had heard. Silence made everything precise. My phone buzzed again. Another call from Andrew. I didn't move. I knew exactly what he wanted. He wasn't calling because he cared. He wasn't calling because he suddenly felt guilty. He was calling because people panic when they realize the person they underestimated heard the truth. The call ended. A text followed, then another. I still didn't touch the phone. I sat there for another minute, breathing steadily. I didn't replay Brittany's words. I didn't repeat Andrew's responses. I didn't need to. The facts were already cemented. They wanted me out of their way. They wanted access to the lake house. Everything else was noise. When the phone buzzed again, I reached for it, not to answer, but to place it on silent. I didn't need interruptions for what I was about to do next. I opened my contacts and scrolled to the person who mattered now. Whitaker. I pressed the call button. He answered quickly. Whitaker speaking. It's me, I said. My voice was calm. I didn't have to force it. Helen, it's late, he said. Is everything all right? No, I said. But it will be. He exhaled once, steady. Tell me what happened. I need help tonight. What kind of help? I need to protect my assets. He paused, only briefly. Did something happen with Andrew? Yes. What exactly? I heard them, I said. All of it. He didn't ask for details. That was one reason he had been my attorney for 10 years. He understood when information mattered and when it didn't. I can come over, he said. 20 minutes. Come. I ended the call. I stood up slowly and walked to the kitchen sink. I washed my hands again, the same way I had done after the call earlier. Simple, grounding movements. My apartment was quiet, steady, predictable. Everything my son and his wife were not. I dried my hands and placed the towel neatly back on the counter. My phone buzzed again. Another call. Andrew. The same name over and over, same ringtone, same desperation. I let it ring until it cut off. Then the doorbell rang. Exactly 19 minutes. Whitaker was always punctual. I opened the door. He stood there in a dark coat, folder in hand, expression focused. He stepped inside without unnecessary words. I led him to the kitchen table. He sat down and placed the folder between us. "Tell me everything you think I need to know." "Andrew didn't hang up after our call," I said. "I heard him and Brittany talking." He nodded once. "And? They don't want me at Sunday dinners anymore." He waited. He knew that wasn't the important part. "They want the lake house," I said. "Not later. Now." "Did he say that directly?" "He agreed with her. That's enough." Whitaker nodded. "Then we move fast." He opened the folder. "These are the initial documents to place the lake house in an irrevocable trust. Once signed, no one, not Andrew, not Brittany, will have access. They won't be able to pressure you to sign anything. They won't be able to borrow against it. They won't even be able to see internal documentation." "Good," I said. "That's exactly what I want." He slid the first document toward me. "Read this page." I read each line. No emotional language, no complications, just structure and control. I signed. Andrew called again. The phone vibrated on the table, screen lighting up. I didn't even glance at it. I signed the next document. "He's not going to stop," Whitaker said quietly. "He's not calling out of concern," I replied. "He's calling because he's afraid of what I know." "That sounds right." He placed another document in front of me. "This one finalizes the transfer. After this, the lake house will be protected. Only you and the trust executor will have authority." "You'll be the executor?" He nodded. "Yes." I signed. Whitaker organized the papers and secured them back into the folder. "I'll file everything first thing tomorrow morning. The trust will activate immediately." I leaned back slightly in my chair. "What happens next?" "That depends on you," he said. "Do you want to confront them?" "No." "Do you want them to know what you heard?" "No." "Then you'll need distance. Physical distance." "I know." He studied me for a moment. "Leaving is the cleanest option. It removes you from immediate pressure, and it prevents emotional entanglement." "I'm not staying in Seattle," I said. "But not tonight." "Do you want help arranging your move?" "Yes," quietly. He pulled out a small notepad. "I'll prepare options. Housing, transport, a temporary mailing system, a shielded communication line. You can choose what fits." "Thank you." He stood. "Do you want me to speak with Andrew if he reaches out?" "No," I said. "He'll reach out because he wants reassurance, not because he wants understanding." Whitaker nodded. "Then I'll keep communication minimal." I walked him to the door. "Helen," he said before stepping out, "you're making the right choice. When someone shows you their intentions this clearly, you act on it." "I'm acting," I said. He nodded once and left. I locked the door and turned back toward the quiet apartment. Everything looked the same: the table, the chair, the folded towel. But my direction had already changed. I walked to the chair near the window and sat again. My phone lit up with another message. I didn't open it. I didn't need explanations. I didn't need apologies. And I wasn't interested in hearing Andrew try to rewrite the conversation he had with Brittany. Tonight wasn't about talking. Tonight was about action. I leaned back and let the quiet settle. Before tonight, I had assumptions. Now, I had facts. Before tonight, I had hesitation. Now, I had decisions. And I was done ignoring what was right in front of me. Whitaker arrived early the next morning. I had been awake since 4. I didn't sleep. I didn't need to. The apartment was quiet when I opened the door. He stepped inside with a thick folder under his arm. "Morning," he said. "Come in," I replied. I led him to the dining table, the same table where my phone had lit up all night with Andrew's calls. I had turned the sound off. The phone stayed face down. Whitaker set the folder down. "Everything is prepared." I nodded. "Good." He opened the folder. "We'll go step by step. Make sure you understand every page." "I will." He pushed the first document toward me. "This one transfers the lake house into the trust. You'll remain beneficiary." Only the trust controls the asset. I read the page quietly. Direct clauses, clear terms, no unnecessary language. I signed. He slid the next set forward. This assigns me as trustee. I'll manage all obligations, taxes, maintenance, legal defense. That's what I need. He nodded. It prevents unauthorized access and removes leverage from Andrew and Brittany. I know. My phone buzzed. I didn't look. Whitaker didn't comment. He placed another document in front of me. This finalizes the trust. Once you sign, the transfer is irreversible. I read it. Signed again. Signed. Whitaker organized the signed pages. I'll file these today. As soon as the system updates, they won't be able to touch anything. They won't even be able to see internal records. That's fine. He closed the folder. Then he looked at the half-packed box near the wall. You started packing. Yes. When do you leave? Soon. He nodded once. How long? As long as necessary. I walked to the closet and pulled out another empty box. I placed it on the couch. I didn't rush. I didn't pause. I folded a stack of clothes and placed them inside. Whitaker stood near the table. You'll need a forwarding system for mail. Yes. I'll set up a temporary address, he said. Private, separate from your current accounts. Do it. He pulled out a small notepad. I'll also prepare housing options. Short-term first, then long-term. Port Townsend remains the best location. I agree. It's quiet, he said. And far enough. That's the point. I packed 2 pairs of shoes, a coat, a few personal documents, nothing sentimental, only what mattered logistically. My phone buzzed again, then again, dozens of notifications, long strings of messages. I didn't turn the phone over. Whitaker watched me pack. He's not stopping. No, I said. Will you reply? No. He nodded. Then distance is the right move. If you stay here, they'll push. If you leave, they lose ground. I know. I taped one side of the box shut. Not fully closed, but ready. I moved steadily. No wasted movement. I returned to the table. Whitaker opened another folder. I drafted a secondary agreement. It protects your accounts during transition. No joint access, no shared authorizations. Show me. He pointed at a page. This prevents Andrew from attempting temporary claims, medical emergency clauses, family access loopholes, all blocked. I signed again. He put the papers away. Everything is covered. Good. He paused. What about Julia? I'll tell her today. She'll want details. She'll get what I choose to share. That's reasonable. I walked to the bedroom and returned with a small jewelry box. I placed it gently inside the moving box. Whitaker didn't ask about it. He understood boundaries. He closed his main folder. Once I file this trust, everything changes. I know. Do you want me to contact Andrew if he calls my office? No. Even if he insists? He will insist, I said, but don't engage. I won't. I positioned the box near the door. Essentials only. No clutter, no weight. Whitaker looked at me directly. Helen, you're sure this is what you want? Yes. No doubt? None. He accepted that without hesitation. I walked with him to the door. I'll call you once everything is filed, he said. I'll be here until then. He nodded. After that, you should leave soon. The longer you stay, the more likely they'll show up. I know. He stepped into the hallway. You're doing the right thing. I'm doing what's necessary. He nodded again, then left. I closed the door and locked it. The apartment returned to silence. I walked to the table and finally turned my phone over. The screen was filled with messages, missed calls, voicemails, texts. Andrew's name repeated over and over. I didn't open a single one. I set the phone face down again. I stood in the center of the apartment and looked at the boxes. Clothes, documents, essentials, a clean start. I walked to the closet and pulled out one last empty box. I placed it near the others. I knew exactly what I was doing, and I wasn't changing course. I drove to Andrew's house on Sunday at the exact time we agreed on. I didn't arrive a minute early or a minute late. I parked, turned off the engine, and sat for 2 seconds. No deep breaths, no rehearsing. I opened the door, stepped out, and walked to the front porch. Before I could knock, the door burst open. "Grandma!" Ella yelled. She ran straight into me. Mason followed right behind her. "Grandma, you came!" They wrapped their arms around me. I hugged them back once, firm and simple. Then I stepped inside. The smell of dinner filled the house. Potatoes, chicken, something overcooked. I heard the clatter of pans from the kitchen. Brittany stood at the counter facing a cutting board. She turned halfway when she heard me. "Oh," she said, "you made it." "Yes," I replied. Her eyes flicked over me as if she was checking whether I looked upset. She didn't find anything. Andrew walked out from behind the kitchen island with a towel in his hand. "Mom," he said, "good to see you." "I said I'd be here," I answered. He forced a smile. It didn't reach his eyes. He looked nervous. Ella pulled my hand. "Grandma, sit with us." She led me to the dining table. Mason sat beside me and talked about a Lego set he had built. I nodded and listened. The house wasn't loud, but it wasn't peaceful either. Something tight sat underneath every sound. I heard Brittany whisper in the kitchen, "Just act normal." Andrew muttered back, "I am." I kept my eyes on the kids. Their drawings were spread out on the table. They were proud. That was real. Everything else in the house wasn't. Brittany brought over a bowl and set it down. "Dinner's ready," she said. We sat. I sat across from Andrew and diagonal from Brittany. The kids took their seats on each side of me. The first few minutes were quiet. Forks, plates, small comments from Ella, nothing from the adults. Then Brittany spoke. "So," she said, "the lake house." I didn't look up. "The kids love it there," she added. "It's one of their favorite places." Andrew nodded, trying to look casual. "Maybe you could let us use it more. You know, for weekends." I lifted my eyes and looked at him. He didn't hold the stare. Then he added, "Only if you want to, of course." Brittany cut in before I answered. "It makes sense. You live alone. You don't go there often." I picked up my glass and took a sip of water. I didn't respond. Silence was clearer. Ella looked at me. "Are we going soon, Grandma?" "We'll see," I said. Brittany gave a short laugh, soft but sharp. "It really would help us, and the place needs upkeep. We could take care of it." "I'll think about it," I said. She didn't like that answer. She wanted something solid she could grab onto. Andrew tried again. "Mom, we're just trying to help." "You said that already," I replied. He blinked. "I mean, we want to make use of it." "I heard you." The kids kept eating, unaware of the shift in the air. Brittany leaned back. "We're offering to take responsibility. It would make things easier for you." "It hasn't been difficult," I said. She forced a small smile. "Well, it could be easier." I set my fork down. "I told you. I'll think about it." She swallowed her frustration. Andrew looked down at his plate. Dinner continued with quiet chewing and small talk from the kids. I ate slowly, one piece at a time. Andrew kept glancing at me. He couldn't tell if I had heard the call he never meant for me to hear. After the plates were cleared, Ella asked me to sit with them in the living room. I agreed. The kids grabbed their toys and sat close. I sat on the couch while Mason showed me a toy helicopter. Ella leaned her head on my arm. From the kitchen, Brittany whispered sharply, "You need to talk to her." Andrew whispered back, "Not now." "Then when?" she hissed. I didn't turn my head. I didn't react. I watched Mason make the helicopter spin. Ella looked up at me. "Grandma, can we see you next weekend?" I brushed her hair lightly. "We'll see." She nodded, accepting it the way children do. Full trust, no suspicion. I stood. "I should go." "Already?" Ella asked. "Yes, sweetheart, it's getting late." The kids followed me to the door. Andrew appeared behind them. "Mom, wait. Can we talk for a minute?" "No," I said. He blinked fast. "Just a minute." No." Brittany crossed her arms. We're trying to communicate here. You did, I said. The other night. Her face tightened. Andrew's shoulders dropped. Ella hugged me again. Mason wrapped his arms around my waist. Good night, Grandma. Good night, I said. I opened the front door and stepped outside. The air was cool. The sky was dim. I walked down the steps without looking back. I reached my car. I didn't sit there absorbing anything. I didn't need time. Dinner didn't change my direction. It confirmed it. I unlocked the door, got inside, and started the engine. The house stayed quiet behind me. I drove away with steady hands. Andrew wanted distance. Brittany wanted control. The kids wanted stability. And I already knew which of those needs deserved an answer. Brittany showed up at my apartment the next morning without calling first. I heard the knock while I was folding clothes into a box near the door. 3 short knocks. Sharp. Impatient. I didn't rush. I placed the last folded shirt into the box, closed the flap halfway, then walked to the door. I opened it. Brittany stood there with a forced smile and wide eyes, the kind people use when they want something. She held her phone in her hand like she had been rehearsing a speech on the way here. Hi, she said. Morning, I replied. She tried to peek behind me. Can we talk? For a moment. She stepped inside without waiting for permission. Her eyes immediately landed on the boxes stacked near the wall. Clothes, files, essentials. She froze for a second. Oh, she said. You're packing? Yes. For what? Leaving. Her smile twitched. Leaving? Like a trip? No. She swallowed hard. Okay. Well, I think we might have gotten off on the wrong foot at dinner. I didn't answer. I closed the door behind her. She took a breath. I didn't mean anything negative. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. You did, I said. Her eyes flicked to the boxes again. We wanted to talk about the lake house in a better way. You already did. She shifted her weight. Her voice softened artificially. You misunderstood. No, I said. I heard everything. Her face went stiff. A quick flicker of panic crossed her eyes. He told you? He didn't need to. She took a step forward. Look, that wasn't what it sounded like. We were stressed. The kids were loud. We were talking about plans, and maybe it came out wrong. You said it clearly. She clenched her jaw. Okay, but you weren't supposed to hear it. That's not the defense you think it is. She let out a short breath. We were just venting. You said you didn't want me at dinners. Her voice tightened. I never said we didn't want you there. I just meant boundaries, family space. You know how it is. I know what I heard. Brittany's shoulders stiffened. It was one conversation. It was enough. She paused, trying to read my face. I didn't give her anything. Andrew is worried, she said. He tried calling you. I know. You didn't answer. No. She looked around again. And now you're packing? Over one conversation? This isn't sudden, I said. Her voice sharpened. So you're punishing us? No. Then what is this? Distance. She gave a quick laugh, the kind that hides frustration. You're overreacting. No. She shook her head. You're leaving your son and your grandkids because of something you misunderstood. I didn't misunderstand. She stepped closer. He needs you. No, I said. He needs convenience. That struck her. Hard. Her expression changed. She looked at the boxes again. So what are you going to do? Disappear? Yes. Her mouth opened slightly, then closed. She tried another tactic. Softer. Sweeter. Helen, we can fix this. No, I said. Why not? Because you showed me exactly how you think. That's not fair, she snapped. It's accurate. She crossed her arms. So that's it? You're running away? I'm leaving, I corrected. You can't leave the kids. I'm not leaving them, I said. I'm leaving you. She swallowed hard. And Andrew? He made his choice. She exhaled sharply. This is ridiculous. You're acting like we're enemies. You treated me like one. She shook her head again. Andrew is heartbroken. He said he feels sick. He said he wants to explain. He had his chance, I replied. He used it to agree with you. She opened her mouth to respond, but couldn't find anything to say. I walked past her and picked up a small stack of documents. I placed them in another box. My movements stayed steady. Brittany stood still, watching me. So, you're really doing this? Yes. You're leaving us with nothing. You have everything you wanted, I said. Space. Her face turned sharp. We didn't want you gone. We wanted balance. You wanted control. She stiffened again. You're twisting my words. No, I said. I'm quoting them. Silence stretched between us for several seconds. Finally, she tried one more angle. The kids will ask about you. What should we tell them? The truth, I said. What truth? That I needed time. She stared at me. I didn't blink. She knew she wasn't going to win. She could feel the distance she had created finally taking shape. She looked toward the door. Fine, if this is what you want. It is. She reached for the doorknob, then paused. You know, Andrew is trying. He's really trying. When people want to keep someone, they don't talk about removing them. She inhaled slowly. I didn't mean it like that. You did, I said. And he agreed. She didn't deny it this time. She opened the door. I hope you know what you're doing. I do. She stepped into the hallway, then turned back one last time. If you leave, don't expect us to chase after you. I wasn't planning on it. Psst. She blinked, startled by the finality in my voice, then left without saying another word. I closed the door behind her. The apartment was silent again. I stood still for a moment, letting the quiet settle. No shaking, no doubt, no regret. I walked back to the boxes. I taped one fully shut and slid it closer to the door. Another step forward, another line drawn, another piece of the exit done. Andrew showed up that same evening. I heard his steps in the hallway before he even knocked. Slow, heavy, hesitant. Then 3 knocks. Not loud, not confident, just uncertain. I didn't rush to the door. I folded one last sweater into the open box on my couch. Then I walked over and opened it. Andrew stood there with his hands shoved into his jacket pockets. His face looked tight, like he hadn't slept. Mom, he said. Andrew. He looked past me, straight into the apartment. His eyes landed on the boxes stacked near the door. The half-filled suitcase, the papers, the tape dispenser, the tape. He froze. What is all this? Packing, I said. For what? Leaving. His mouth opened slightly. Leaving? Why? You know why. He shook his head. No, I don't. Mom, I have no idea what's going on. You do, I said. You just don't want to say it. He stepped inside without waiting. What happened? Why aren't you answering my calls? I didn't need to. I've been trying to explain. I didn't ask for an explanation. He ran a hand through his hair. Can we please talk? Just talk, face to face. We are talking. No, I mean, not like this. He motioned around the room. Mom, why are you doing this? I closed the door. You know why. He paced once, then stopped. Is this about Brittany showing up? She told me you two talked. We did. And? I told her what I heard. His face went pale. So she told you? She told you what we said? No, I said. You told me. He blinked. What? You didn't hang up, Andrew. His breath caught. No, Mom, that was taken out of context. No, I said. It wasn't. He stared at me, stunned. You heard everything? Yes. He looked down at the floor. Mom, I'm sorry. We were stressed. We didn't mean any of that. You did. No, he said quickly. No, I swear I didn't mean— You agreed, I said. You didn't defend me. You didn't stop her. You didn't question her. He shook his head. It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that. He looked around the room again. So you're leaving because of one conversation? This isn't about one conversation. Then what? It's about clarity. He stepped closer. Mom, you're overthinking. No, I said. I'm responding. He swallowed hard. Okay, yes, Brittany was out of line. Yes, we talked about the lake house, but we weren't trying to hurt you. You wanted my things, I said, not me. He closed his eyes for a moment. That's not true. You wanted me out of the way. Mom, you wanted fewer visits. He rubbed his forehead. That didn't mean we don't want you. You didn't say that. He looked up sharply. You can't just vanish. You can't leave the kids. They love you. I'm not leaving them, I said. I'm leaving you. He stepped back as if the words hit him. Why would you say that? Because it's true. So that's it? You're punishing me? No. Then what is this? Distance, I said. You asked for it. He shook his head. I didn't ask you to disappear. You didn't need to. You made your intentions clear. His voice cracked slightly. Mom, please, don't do this. Just talk to me. Let me explain. You're explaining now. No, he said. Not like this. You're calm. Too calm. It scares me. That's not my concern. He exhaled shakily. Can you tell me what you want? I want peace. And you can't have peace here? No. He looked at the boxes again. So you're really leaving Seattle? Yes. For how long? As long as I choose. He swallowed. Can I ask where you're going? No. Mom, no, I repeated. He stared at me, helpless. Do you hate me? No. Then why are you doing this? Because I'm done being convenient. He went silent, completely silent. After several seconds, he whispered, Are you coming back? I don't know. What about me? You made your choice. He looked like he wanted to argue, but the words wouldn't come out. He paced again, rubbing the back of his neck. Mom, listen to me. I messed up. I know I did. I shouldn't have said what I said. You meant it. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. He stopped pacing. Okay, he said quietly. Okay, maybe I did. Maybe I was frustrated. Maybe I was tired. But I didn't want you gone. Not like this. I stood still. He waited for me to soften. I didn't. He took a shaky breath. What can I do to fix this? Nothing. Nothing? No. He stepped toward me. Mom, can we start over? No. He looked at the door, then back at me. Are you cutting me off? Yes. Completely? For now. His voice dropped. So what am I supposed to do? Live with what you said. He stared at me, defeated. Mom, please. I shook my head once. You need to leave. He didn't move. I'm not leaving until we fix this. There's nothing to fix. Mom, leave. He froze. I said it again, firmer. Leave. He took one step back, then another. He walked to the door slowly, like his legs were heavy. He looked at me one last time. Will I see you again? I don't know. He opened the door with a shaking hand. Before walking out, he said, I'm sorry. I didn't respond. He left. I closed the door. The apartment went silent again. I looked at the boxes near the couch, the suitcase by the door, the documents on the table. Everything I needed for the exit was ready. I started the next morning the same way I ended the last one. Quiet, steady, moving through the apartment without stopping. I didn't think about Andrew. I didn't think about Brittany. I focused on the boxes. I taped one shut and slid it toward the door. Another one waited on the couch. I filled it with clothes, documents, and a few small things I needed. Nothing extra, nothing sentimental. Around 9, Julia called. I didn't answer. I texted her instead. Come by. She arrived 20 minutes later. She knocked once and walked in as soon as I opened the door. Her eyes went straight to the boxes. Oh God, she said, you're really doing it. Yes. She stepped inside and closed the door behind her. After all these years in Seattle? Yes. She let out a breath. All right, tell me what you need. Help packing. Okay. She didn't ask why. She didn't try to talk me out of it. She knew me long enough to know there was no point. She picked up a stack of towels and placed them into a box. What about forwarding? She asked. Whitaker is handling it. She nodded. Good. We packed in silence for several minutes. It was efficient, quick, clean, no wasted motion. Then she glanced at me. Does Andrew know? No. Are you planning to tell him? No. She didn't look surprised. She didn't argue. We finished another box. I taped it shut. Julia sat on the edge of the couch. Where are you going? Port Townsend. That's quiet? That's what I want. She nodded again. When? Soon. She looked at me. Are you safe? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. She stood and grabbed another empty box. All right, then let's finish this. We kept packing. Shoes, coats, simple items. Nothing heavy. Nothing that would tie me to the apartment. My phone buzzed once on the table. I didn't pick it up. After an hour, most of the room was boxed. Julia wiped her palms on her jeans. What about the kids? I'm going to see them. When? Today. What will you tell them? What they need to hear. She didn't press for more. We loaded 2 boxes into her car. She'd hold them until I left. Then we stood in the parking lot. She looked at me like she wanted to say something, but she didn't. I'll call you when I get there, I said. That's enough, she replied. She drove off. I walked back inside. I grabbed 2 small gift bags from the table, one for Ella, one for Mason. Inside each was a small item, simple, private, meaningful only to them. Nothing dramatic, just something they would understand later. I left the apartment and drove to their school. I parked across the street and waited until recess. When I saw the 2 of them walk out with their class, I got out of the car and met them near the fence. Ella saw me first. Her eyes widened. Grandma! Mason ran up behind her. Both of them pushed through the small gate as the supervising aide looked over. I knelt slightly. Hello? Ella hugged me tight. What are you doing here? I wanted to give you something. I handed them the bags. Mason opened his, then looked up. Can I open it now? No, I said. Open it later. Ella looked worried. Are you okay? Yes. Are you coming over Sunday? Not this week, I said. Why? She asked. I need time, I said. I'll write to you. Ella's face softened. Mason looked confused, but accepted the answer. The supervising aide walked toward us. We need to get them back inside. I was just leaving, I said. Ella squeezed my hand. Will we see you soon? You will hear from me, I said. I promise. I hugged them once more. Then I stood and walked back toward the car. Neither of them let go immediately, but they did eventually. I didn't turn back. I got into the car, closed the door, and sat still for a few seconds. Then I started the engine and pulled away from the curb. I drove straight to my real estate agent's office. She already had the paperwork ready. She had listed my apartment privately. The buyer was scheduled to sign this week. She handed me a packet. Everything's clean, quick sale, no issues. Good, I said. Do you need help with moving companies? No, she nodded. All right, sign here. I signed. She handed me a copy. That was it. The apartment was almost gone. I drove home. The building was quiet. The hallway was empty. When I stepped inside, the apartment felt smaller with the boxes lined up near the door. I opened one more cabinet, took out the last few items, and placed them into a small duffel bag. My phone buzzed again. I ignored it. I walked to the window and looked down at the street for a moment. People walked by. Cars moved in and out. Nothing in their world changed. Everything in mine already had. I checked the clock. It was late afternoon. Whitaker would call soon to confirm everything was filed. I sat on the edge of the bed with the duffel bag in front of me. The apartment was nearly empty. I got up, zipped the bag, and placed it near the door. Everything was ready. Tomorrow, I would be gone. Andrew showed up at my apartment the next morning, but he didn't find me. The building manager told him the unit had been cleared the day before. He called me 10 times, then 20. Every call went to voicemail. At noon, he drove to the lake house. A family he had never seen before opened the door. The new owner looked confused when Andrew stepped onto the porch like he still belonged there. "Can I help you?" the man asked. Andrew's voice shook. "This is my mother's property." The man frowned. "No, we bought it last week." Andrew froze. His face went blank. "What do you mean you bought it?" he asked. The man lifted the paperwork in his hand. "We closed on it Friday. Everything is official." Andrew stared at the house behind him. The windows, the porch, the dock, all the things he had assumed were waiting for him. He didn't say another word. He turned around, got into his car, and drove straight to Whitaker's office. He didn't call ahead. He didn't knock. He pushed the door open and walked inside, out of breath. Whitaker looked up from his desk. "Andrew." "I need to talk to you," Andrew said. Whitaker closed his folder calmly. "Regarding?" "My mom. I can't reach her." Whitaker folded his hands. "She's fine." Andrew swallowed. "Where is she?" "I can't give you that information." Andrew stared at him. "Is she with you?" "No." "Then where?" Andrew asked. "I went to her apartment. She's gone. Everything is gone." Whitaker didn't react. "She made arrangements." "What arrangements?" "Her own." Andrew took a step forward. "I'm her son." "That doesn't give you access," Andrew's voice cracked. "She sold the lake house." "Yes," Whitaker said. "To strangers." "Yes." Andrew blinked slowly. "And you let her?" Whitaker kept his tone flat. "I work for her." Andrew rubbed his face. "Does she hate me?" "No." "Then why did she leave?" Whitaker didn't answer. He didn't need to. Andrew tried again. "Please, just tell me where she is. I'm worried." "She is safe," Whitaker repeated. "That means nothing," Andrew snapped. "I need to see her." Whitaker shook his head. "That won't happen unless she chooses it." Andrew's chest rose and fell in quick breaths. "So she really left?" "She did." Andrew swallowed tightly. "And I can't talk to her?" "No." He stared at Whitaker like he was trying to wake up from something. Then he stepped back and sank into the chair across from the desk. "What do I do?" he whispered. Whitaker didn't answer. Andrew exhaled shakily. "Are you at least forwarding her messages?" "No." "Why not?" "She asked for distance." Andrew's eyes reddened. "From me." "From both of you," Whitaker said. "You and Brittany." He looked down at the floor. "I didn't mean to push her away." "You did," Whitaker said. The bluntness hit him hard. He didn't argue. After a long silence, he asked, "Will she come back?" "I don't know." Andrew nodded slowly, like he had run out of strength. Then he stood. "If she calls you," Andrew said quietly, "can you tell her I'm sorry?" Whitaker didn't promise him anything. Andrew left the office without another word. He went home, walked inside, and collapsed onto the couch. Brittany came in from the kitchen. "Did you find her?" she asked. He shook his head. "Did Whitaker help?" "He won't say anything," Andrew said. Brittany crossed her arms. "Maybe it's a bluff. Maybe she's trying to scare us." Andrew looked at her like he didn't recognize her. "She's gone." "So what?" Brittany said. "She'll come back. She always does." "Not this time," Andrew said. Brittany rolled her eyes. "You're being dramatic." Andrew shook his head. "She sold the lake house." "What? Brittany snapped. To who? Strangers. Her jaw tightened. And you didn't stop her? I didn't know, Andrew said quietly. She didn't tell me. Brittany scoffed. Well, call her again. I did. Call more. She blocked me. Brittany froze. Andrew looked at his phone. The notifications were the same. Message failed to deliver. Blocked. Unreachable. He stood and paced. What if something happens to her? She's fine, Brittany muttered. You don't know that. Brittany grabbed her phone. Then we file a missing person report. Andrew shook his head. It won't work. She's an adult. She left by choice. She told people she was leaving. So you're just giving up? No, he said. But I don't know where to start. Brittany stared at him. Are you crying? Andrew didn't answer. He sat again, elbows on his knees, head in his hands. Brittany scowled. Okay, so what? She's punishing us? No, Andrew whispered. She's done. Brittany didn't like the sound of that. She'll get over it. No, he said again. She won't. She paced in front of him. Well, I'm not letting her walk away with everything. If she wants a fight, she'll get one. Andrew looked up. No, we're not doing that. She took the lake house. It wasn't ours. She took your inheritance. It wasn't mine, he said. She doesn't owe us anything. Brittany stared at him like he had betrayed her instead. You're really taking her side? I'm facing the truth, Andrew said. Brittany scoffed and left the room. Andrew stayed on the couch. He stared at the door like he expected me to walk in. That night, he sent another message. Mom, please, tell me you're okay. I just want to hear your voice. The message never delivered. The next morning, he started calling hospitals, police stations, shelters. He checked her old routes, her old grocery store, the ferry schedule. He retraced any path he could think of. Nothing. He printed a missing person flyer, even though he knew it wasn't technically true, and tried posting it online. It got flagged. He drove back to the lake house, then to my apartment, then to Whitaker again. Every door stayed closed. The more he looked, the more he realized I had truly left. No note, no message, no trace, just distance. The exact distance he had asked for without knowing it. 3 years passed quietly. I stayed in a small rental house in Port Townsend. 1 bedroom. Simple. No noise. No questions. I didn't keep anything unnecessary. My days were the same. I walked in the mornings. I bought groceries once a week. I kept my phone off except for calls from Whitaker. I didn't check old messages. I didn't follow news from Seattle. I didn't look for updates about Andrew. I kept distance exactly the way I planned. Whitaker called on the first Monday of every month, always short. Your accounts are secure. Your trust is active. Mail forwarded. Letters from the kids arrived. That was it. One morning, I sat at the small table with the latest envelope. Whitaker always sent the letters together, so no one could track where they came from. I opened the stack. Ella's handwriting had changed. Cleaner. Older. Grandma, I hope you're okay. Dad doesn't tell us anything, but I know you're safe. I miss you. I folded it. Mason's letter was short. Grandma, I won a race at school. I wish you saw it. I set it aside. Then another one from Ella. I know you didn't leave because of us. I know there was a reason. I'm not upset. I just hope you're all right. I kept the letters in a drawer with the others. Nothing else went in that drawer. Later that day, I walked near the water. The pier was quiet. A few people stood far away. Nobody looked at me. That was how I liked it. My phone rang around noon. Only Whitaker had that number. I answered. Yes. Mail delivered, he said. All right. There will be more letters next week. From the kids? Yes. Good. He paused. Do you want information about Andrew? No. Understood. He didn't continue. He knew my rule. We discussed the rental agreement next. It's time to renew, Whitaker said. Do you want another year? Yes. I'll sign it. Thank you. The call ended. No extra words. I put the phone away and kept walking. In the evenings, I sometimes joined a small painting group in town. No introductions, no questions. People arrived, painted, and left. Nobody asked about my past. One afternoon, the instructor stopped next to me and said, "Your lines are neat." "Habit," I said. She nodded and moved on. That was our longest exchange in 3 years. Every few months, Julia wrote a short message through the secure inbox. "I hope you're well. The kids miss you. Call when you want." I always replied with one line, "I'm fine." She didn't press. One winter afternoon, Whitaker forwarded another packet. I opened Ella's letter first. "Grandma, we had to write about someone we admire. I chose you." I placed it with the others. Mason's drawing showed a road and a small stick figure. Under it he wrote, "I got back up." I kept the picture. I didn't mark dates on a calendar. I didn't count how many letters arrived. I lived simply and kept my distance. Then one morning, right after sunrise, my phone rang again. The timing was wrong. Whitaker never called that early. I answered. "Yes." His voice wasn't its usual tone. "I have news." I stood still. "It's about Andrew," he said. I didn't speak. "He was in an accident." I didn't sit. I didn't move. "He's at Seattle General, critical, but stable." I let him continue. "He has a long recovery ahead. I contacted the hospital. They confirmed he's in the ICU." I didn't ask what happened. I didn't ask who called him. I didn't ask who was at the hospital. Whitaker paused. "Do you want updates?" "Yes." "I'll keep you informed." "Good." He hesitated. "Do you want him to know you're aware?" "No." "All right." The call ended. I put the phone on the counter. The house stayed quiet. Nothing dramatic, nothing chaotic, just a fact, a change, a shift I didn't choose, but one I wouldn't ignore. 3 years of distance didn't erase the truth. He was still my son, and he was fighting for his life. Whitaker called again the next morning. The hour was early, earlier than usual. I answered on the first ring. "Yes." "He made it through the night," Whitaker said. "He's stable but critical." "All right." "He has multiple injuries, broken ribs, a head injury, internal bleeding." I didn't react. I let him continue. "The surgeons stopped the bleeding," he said. "He's sedated. They're monitoring him hourly." "When did it happen?" I asked. "Last night. A collision on the highway. His car went off the road." "Is he alone?" "Yes." "Who called you?" "The hospital. They found my card in his wallet." I stayed silent. Whitaker continued. "He listed me as an emergency contact after you left." "I see." And he paused. "Do you want me to check on him in person?" "Yes." "I'll go today." "Call me after." "I will." The call ended. I sat at the table for a moment. Nothing inside me shook. Nothing cracked open. I only sorted the information. Injury, ICU, sedation, surgery. Nothing else was useful. I made tea, sat down, and waited. At noon, Whitaker called back. "He's in the ICU," he said. "Room 412. "How does he look?" "Worse than you'd want to imagine," he said plainly. "But he's alive." "What did the doctor say?" "He'll need weeks, maybe months. There are concerns about complications. They won't know more until he wakes up." "All right." Whitaker lowered his voice. "He asked for you before he went under." I stayed quiet. "He said your name," Whitaker added. I didn't respond. "He doesn't know I called you," he said, "and I didn't tell him." "Good." "Do you want him told?" "No." Whitaker accepted that without argument. "I'll keep checking. Twice a day." "Do that." The call ended. I spent the rest of the day cleaning the house, not because I needed to, because it kept my hands moving. I wiped the counter, folded 2 blankets, straightened the drawer with the letters from the kids. When I finished, the house looked the same as always, simple and quiet. The next morning, Whitaker called again. "He made it through the night," he said. "Condition?" "No improvement. No decline either. Still sedated." "Any complications?" "Not yet." "All right." He paused. They say he'll wake eventually. They just don't know when. Keep me informed. I will. Later that afternoon, I walked along the water like I always did. The town stayed calm. People moved slowly. No one here knew anything about Andrew. No one asked me why I kept my phone on me more than usual. My phone rang again around 3. I answered. They're adjusting his sedation, Whitaker said. They want to see if he responds. Will he? They're not sure. When will they know? Within a day or two. All right. That night, I sat at the table with a blank piece of paper. I didn't write anything. I didn't know if this was the moment. I didn't know if it mattered yet. I folded the paper and put it away. The next morning, Whitaker called again. Small improvement, he said. He moved his hand. The nurse said it was reflex, but it's something. Good. He's not conscious. I know. Whitaker lowered his voice. He's alone. Brittany hasn't been there. That doesn't surprise me. Do you want to know how she's handling it? No. Understood. He continued. The doctors are planning another scan tonight to check the swelling. Call me after. I will. The call ended. I opened one of the kids' old letters and read it again. Mason had written, I hope Dad is okay when he works a lot. I folded it and put it back. Evening came. Whitaker called again. The scan looks better, he said. Still critical, but improving. Good. He hasn't woken up. Call me when he does. Of course. The next morning, I walked to the pier, sat on my usual bench, and waited with the phone in my hand. At 9, Whitaker called. He woke up. I closed my hand around the phone. He's weak, Whitaker said. Confused, in pain, but awake. Did he speak? A few words. What did he say? Whitaker hesitated. He asked if you knew. I do. Do you want me to tell him? No. Whitaker stayed silent for a moment. All right. I didn't ask how Andrew looked. I didn't ask what he remembered. I didn't ask if he cried. None of that mattered. I only asked, is he stable? Yes. Then keep me updated. I will. He paused. There's one more thing. What? The hospital bills. I'll cover them. Anonymous? Yes. Understood. I ended the call and sat on the bench for several minutes. The water moved quietly. A few gulls flew overhead. Nothing around me changed, but something inside the story had shifted. Later that day, Whitaker called again. He's asking for you repeatedly, Whitaker said. All right. He wants to apologize. He can write. Do you want a letter? Yes. Whitaker took a breath. I'll tell him to write it, but I won't give him your location. Correct. Then he'll send it to me. That's fine. Evening came. The phone stayed near me the entire time. At 9, Whitaker called again. He's resting, he said. He wrote something. I'll forward it tomorrow. All right. He keeps asking if you're okay. I am. I know, Whitaker said. The call ended. I sat still in the quiet house. Andrew was alive, awake, trying. 3 years of silence hadn't changed everything, but it had changed enough. Whitaker called the next morning. He finished the letter, he said. I scanned it. I can read it to you. Go ahead. Whitaker unfolded paper on his end. I heard it. He wrote, Mom, I don't know where to begin. I was wrong. I repeated things I didn't mean. I let someone else decide how I spoke about you. I thought I had more time to fix it. I didn't. I know you left because of what I did. I know Brittany pushed it, but I followed. That's on me. I don't expect you to come back. I don't expect forgiveness. I just want you to know I see it clearly now. I failed you. Whitaker stopped. Do you want the rest? Yes. When I was in the car before the crash, I kept thinking about the last time I saw you. I replayed it. Every word. You were calm. I wasn't. I wish I had listened. I wish I hadn't tried to blame you. You were right to walk away. I hope you're safe. I hope the kids get to see you again one day, even if I don't. Andrew. I didn't say anything. Whitaker waited. Do you want me to send the physical copy? No. All right. I sat at the table after the call and read the scanned copy he emailed. The lines were uneven. A few places looked pressed harder, like he paused. I didn't analyze it. I didn't try to feel anything. I only noted what was written and what wasn't. I wrote my reply that afternoon, short, direct, controlled. I folded the page and called Whitaker. I have a letter for him. I'll pick it up. He arrived in Port Townsend that evening. He didn't come inside. I handed him the envelope at the door. Read it before you deliver it, I said. Of course. He opened it, read it silently, then looked up. This is clear, he said. It needs to be. He nodded. Whitaker left and drove back to Seattle that night. The next morning he called. I gave him your letter. All right. He cried, Whitaker said in a neutral tone, not dramatic, just factual. All right. He asked if he could write back. Yes. Nothing more. Whitaker delivered the next letter 2 days later. He finished it, Whitaker said. It's longer. Read it. Whitaker began. Mom, thank you for writing. I know I don't deserve even the small response you gave. The boundaries you listed are fair. I will follow them. I won't push. I won't call. I won't show up. I won't ask where you are. If one day you decide to speak to me in person, I'll be here. If not, I'll accept it. Whitaker paused. Continue. I am in physical therapy now. The doctors say I'll walk normally again. I don't care how long it takes. I'm trying to be better. The kids ask where you are every week. I don't give them answers. I don't lie either. Ella keeps writing because she thinks you'll read her letters eventually. Mason said he hopes you're not mad forever. I wish I could tell him more. Whitaker kept reading. I understand why you left. I understand why you stayed gone. I just hope you're okay. I won't ask for more. Whitaker stopped. That's the full letter. Put it with the others. Do you want to respond? He asked. Yes. That afternoon, I wrote another letter, short again. Andrew, I read what you wrote. You will respect every boundary I listed. There will be no sudden visits. Focus on your recovery. Focus on your children. Do not involve me in anything with Brittany. I will decide when to speak again. Mom. I called Whitaker. It's ready. He came the next morning, picked it up, and read it. This is firm. It has to be. He delivered it by noon. The next day, Whitaker called again. He read your letter. All right. He accepted everything. He needs to. Whitaker didn't argue. He understood the design of it. A few days later, he forwarded a new letter from Andrew, the shortest one yet. Mom, I will follow everything you wrote. I don't expect anything from you. I just want you to know I'm trying. Andrew. I read it once and put it in the drawer with the others. I didn't write back immediately. I waited 3 days. Then I wrote one more note. Andrew, I heard you. Focus on your recovery. I will contact you when it is appropriate. Mom. Whitaker delivered it. When he called later, he said, he seemed relieved. Good. He's asking less now. Good. His progress is steady. All right. Whitaker paused. There's one more thing. The kids want to write you again. They can. I'll forward everything. Do that. He cleared his throat. Do you want anything else? No. The call ended. Over the next few weeks, letters from Ella and Mason arrived regularly. Simple messages, school events, small drawings, updates about their dad recovering. None of them asked where I was. None asked why I left. They only wrote because they cared. One evening, Whitaker sent a message. Andrew is walking without support today. I read it and responded with one line. Noted. We stayed on the same pattern. Strict boundaries, short letters, no contact beyond what I permitted. It wasn't reconciliation. It wasn't forgiveness. It was structure. And structure was enough. Whitaker called on Thursday morning. We'll arrive tomorrow at 10, he said. Only the kids. All right. No changes to the plan. Good. I ended the call. I didn't prepare anything besides clearing the small table and moving 2 chairs to the porch. I didn't add decorations. I didn't buy anything special. I didn't adjust the house. The next day, Whitaker's car stopped in front of the rental house at 10:02. He stepped out first. Ella got out after him. Mason followed, holding the same backpack he always carried in his letters. They stood still when they saw me at the door. Ella said, "Hi, Grandma." "Come in." She walked toward me. Mason came right behind her. They didn't run. They didn't speak. They stopped when they reached the steps. Ella looked up. "Can I hug you?" "Yes." She hugged me once. Quick. Mason did the same. Neither of them held on longer than necessary. I didn't either. Whitaker said, "I'll pick them up at 4. Call me if the time changes." "It won't." He nodded once and left. I looked at the kids. "We'll go to the beach." They followed me to the back path. The morning was quiet. A few people stood far away. No one paid attention to us. Ella stepped near the water. "It's different here." "Yes." Mason picked up a small piece of driftwood and turned it in his hand. "Do you come here every day?" "Most days." He nodded once and kept the driftwood. Ella stood next to me. "Dad said it was okay if we came. He didn't ask for anything." "I know." She didn't ask how I knew. Mason crouched near the sand. "Do we stay long?" "Until 4. "Okay." They walked along the edge of the water. They didn't talk much. They didn't ask questions quickly. They stayed close enough that I could see them without effort. Ella came back to my side after a few minutes. "Dad said he follows your rules." "He should." "He said he won't ask to come." "He won't." She didn't push further. After a few minutes, Mason said, "Dad said you helped with the hospital bills. I handled what was needed." He accepted that without asking for details. We stayed outside for about an hour. When the wind picked up, I said, "We're going inside." They followed me back to the house. I made simple sandwiches and put them on the table. They sat and ate quietly. Ella looked around. "It's small." "It fits." She nodded. Mason pointed to a shelf. "Are those our letters?" "Yes." "Do you read them?" "Yes." He didn't ask anything else. After lunch, they sat on the floor with a small puzzle. They worked in silence. No noise besides the pieces clicking together. My phone buzzed at 1:13. Andrew's number. I silenced the call immediately. I didn't turn the phone over. Ella saw but didn't say anything. 5 minutes later, another message came in. "Whitaker. He only wants to confirm they arrived, nothing else." I typed, "They're fine." I didn't add anything more. At 1:30, Ella sat next to me on the small couch. "Are we allowed to visit again?" "Yes." "When?" "Summer." "Okay." She didn't smile. She didn't react strongly. She only nodded. Mason sat on the rug. "Can we send more drawings?" "Yes." He went back to the puzzle. At 2:00, Ella said, "Dad said he won't talk about the past unless you ask." "That's correct." "Will you?" "When I decide." She accepted the answer immediately. At 2:40, Mason asked, "Do you want the rock I brought?" "Keep it." "Okay." At 3:10, Ella said, "We didn't know if you'd want us here." "I wanted you here." She looked down for a second, then stood up. No tears, no emotion, just acknowledgement. At 3:45, Whitaker texted, "Arriving in 15. I said, "It's time to get ready." They put their shoes on. Mason carried the backpack. Ella checked nothing. They followed instructions without resistance. Whitaker's car pulled in at exactly 4:00. He stepped out. "How did it go?" "It went." He nodded once. "Kids, let's go." Ella hugged me once. Short, controlled. "We'll write soon." "Good." Mason hugged me too. "I'll bring something next time." "All right." They got into the car. Whitaker closed the door and walked over. Andrew asked again if it went well. "I'm aware. He said he won't contact you today." "He shouldn't." Whitaker nodded. "I'll call you Monday." "That's fine." He got into the car and drove away. I went back inside. I folded the blanket they sat on. I wiped the small table. I put the unused cups back in the cabinet. I returned each item to where it belonged. My phone buzzed again at 4:22. Another message from Whitaker. "Andrew said thank you for letting them come." I replied, "Noted." He didn't text anything else. I checked the window once. The road was empty. The house was quiet. Nothing had shifted out of place. The day was simple, measured, controlled. The boundaries stayed intact. Andrew once tried to move me out of his life. He failed. I left on my own terms. And now, even in this small reunion, everything remained exactly that way. That was my story. I didn't win by shouting. I didn't win by fighting. I won by stepping back, protecting what mattered, and choosing peace on my terms. Sometimes distance is the only thing that brings clarity, and sometimes it's the only way to protect yourself. Thank you for staying with me until the end. If you'd like to hear more stories like this one, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new episode. Feel free to leave a comment and share your thoughts. I always appreciate hearing from you. Thank you for spending your time here today. I'll see you in the next story.